Is that good audio? Does it sound good when I do that? What about when I do this? I once knew that life seemed worth living, and I once flew to Michigan. And then I realized that life really ain't worth living. Especially if you live in Michigan. You ever fucking been to Detroit? People kill themselves because they have layovers in Detroit. They kill themselves in the bathroom at the airport in Detroit. Because they'd rather do that than get robbed by a local black guy there. You know, I'm kind of at the point where I don't really know what to think. Seems like I know it's not God, because God is gracious, God is loving, God is kind, He's forgiving. Trust me, read the Bible, that's what it says, dummies. God is good. God is great. Yeah, he'll probably fucking shit in your mouth 1,700 times and torture you to death. Or you're just like you have, like the average human body has 10 pints of blood. You're on your last pint, which is it's physically impossible to like even live with only 1 pint of blood in you. I think if you lose like 3 to 4, that's when you start like dying. Like you'll probably be dead at 4. I don't even know. It's a good question. This is why I like where the roller coaster of the mind takes me. I wonder how many. I know you can donate 1 to 2. What's the least amount of pints of blood? Least amount. Yeah, it sounds so retarded. Pints of blood I can drain from a child before they actually die, so I can get all the good nutrients out of it. I worded this so retardedly. This doesn't even make sense. Oh yeah, I'm not connected to the internet. That's right. I have the power off in the 2 bedrooms. And I said, you know what? I could finish this ceiling fan light rewiring. I'm rewiring the ceiling fans. I bet you're thinking, oh boy, this guy's gonna like fuck up the entire electrical grid for the neighborhood. No. I'm not a fucking simpleton moron like you. I know how to rewire. I can I could probably build a house if I really put my mind to it. It's really not that difficult. I don't know why it takes them so long, some of these companies. And some other companies, they're up overnight. Me and the dude literally saw like 50 fucking houses like 2 months, 3 months ago. Maybe 4 or 5. Yeah, it was a while ago. Jesus, man. It's already September. Football, baby. Football. We were driving off of Hinton Ave and 80th Street in Woodbury. Right by the Junction 70 and the Holiday. And if you keep going towards like Oakdale and towards 94, there's like 50 houses in a neighborhood that I was there the week before. They weren't there. So you can see why Hayden's a little bit upset. Why he's not in heaven yet. But I understand. I got to purge or whatever. I think I purged, Lord. I think I purged too much. I've over-purged. And now I'm like, it's like my internal organs are failing from purging, from cleansing. They're too clean. They're too clean. It's like my body doesn't even know how to function with such a perfect, like organ functionality, body mass index, brain functionality, vitamins, nutrients. It's like my body is like, Hayden, slow, dude. You're too healthy right now. That's how much I purged of my sins. Of this life and the past life. So, how do we get back into like right in the middle of the road? But, because I feel like I'm just too healthy and too clean, too purged. Maybe just go to Pornhub, the homepage. Or we could, I've never actually been to confession. You know that? Imagine like going to confession with a Catholic priest who's like just got done raping a little boy. 'Cause that's what they do on Tuesdays. Duh. And then you go in there and you just mind rape the shit out of him. Like you melt his mind into like, he's like, what? He's like, you're joking about all that, right? There's no way you're joking. You're joking, right? And you're like, I don't know, man. I'm just here for confession. I thought it was your job to tell me if I'm forgiven or not. He's like, what? So wait. This isn't like a open mic. There's not like a camera in here. There is a camera, but it's only on when the little boys come to confession. And it's just the one priest at one of the churches in the county, but it's still one too many. But hey, the Pope said purgatory doesn't exist, so I think we're all in the clear. It's just heaven or hell after this. That's what the Pope said, in all of his infinite wisdom and wise guys' expertise on sitting in a castle in a fucking palace bed and like probably touching and diddling little boys. And I had a couple good fucking jokes, good bits that Hayden Meyer wouldn't forget. Not the Hayden Meyer that should exist. The confident, faithful, outgoing, funny. Not outgoing, Jesus. but conversate like minimally conversationally um at least experienced in watching people have conversations. What? Prove it. Fake nothing seem to think that I'm in hell, since there's Satan. Satan's getting got, folks. Oh, we don't want to stop talking because we actually want to just survive in your head watching you live nothing of a life. This is not a life. You realize this, right? It's not a life worth living at all. So I don't really know what is to fucking like. What is so good about watching this like pathetic excuse of nothing? You know? That's fun. I would have killed myself. Like, I just walk around the house, like the apartment, trying to like, or I'll just sit on the couch and like stare at the floor and be like, wait, what? No. No, that doesn't mean I want to forget everything, God. Wipe. Or whatever. It's not God. It's probably just brain damage, carbon monoxide poisoning, drugs, concussions, CTE, TBIs, and the tomb. The tumor. I keep forgetting about that little stinker up in there, the little tumor. He could be the mastermind behind all this. That's what's so fucked up. But he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He won't trust. Or she. Can you try to sneak down into my waist area and try to see if you can get some kind of blood flowing going down there? No, for real. Like, because I'm always thinking about nothing and everything. So I think I went almost 3 weeks straight without even getting hard. I don't even think that's possible for like 80-year-old men. I think they get like, after like a week, they start getting like rock hard boners whenever they walk around. Because their dick is just like banging into their legs, so they just instantly get hard because they haven't, at 80. I'm 25 and thriving. I'm in peak physical condition. I could probably run a marathon if I want to, a triathlon, one after another, do the marathon and then the tri. A couple months ago, at least 3, maybe 4. It was like 3. Jesus, somebody put a bullet in my skull. I was mowing the lawn and I was like, you know what, God? We're going to check the timing on those. That's interesting. Could be up to something here. Could be some crucial information about the dates that my episodes were released on Spotify. But those may be lies, ladies and gentlemen. As may some of the things that Hayden says in my episode. So if you catch a difference or anything, let me know, please. Or yeah, just let me know. Contact me. Don't tell Spotify, those fucking kikes. And you know what's funny? Just because I mentioned this on the podcast like a minute ago about how these dates might not line up with me mowing the lawn, and when the purgatoring episode dropped, it seems like they line up pretty perfectly, and that could have been whatever force in the world seeing me do that in the future, because this is what happened. This is how my life is. Whether it be it must be God at this point. It ain't Satan. It ain't the devil or Beelzebub. And it ain't AI. It ain't a simulation. It ain't a coma dream. It ain't heaven. It ain't hell. So I'm just going to get that across because, I put in my time to literally disprove those. Yes, God could make any of them true or part of some person's reality, which would be just a lot of work. Aren't you tired, Gramps? Gramps, aren't you tired? All this fake coma dream voodoo, like witchcraft going around in the air. Don't you just want to be done with it? I do, man. I mean, imagine, like, just imagine that. You're a workaholic, dude. Go, like, skydiving or something and try to get some adrenaline going. Like, burn a cigarette into your wrist or something. That is an adrenaline rush like no other, I'll tell you that. Like, holy shit. But you have to, like, actually burn it all the way out. Like, when somebody sticks like the end of their cigarette that's still got the cherry on it, and they just ash it in the ashtray, and they basically put the cherry out in the ashtray. Well, just imagine doing that to your skin and your flesh. You start like shaking. Just keep the muscle relaxed, like your limb, your leg, or your arm. Don't tense up. They say that when you cut. If you're a cutter, don't get all tense. That's why they like to. That's where the adrenochrome comes from. Is when the kids tense up, their muscles and their like body tissue like hardens. It ruins the meat, and it ruins the adrene. So that's why you have to like surprise them. That's what I've heard. I don't know. I'm not really into that kind of thing. I just sell you like the nicotine vapes and the lozenges, and I haven't been able to do enough work with Aria, my mom's French bulldog, in terms of shooting more sex scenes. But Lisa Ann didn't really. She didn't make a lot of videos when she started her career. You know what I mean? She had to really get into it. She had to realize, oh, I'm good at taking dicks in the puss. People like when I take dicks in the puss. Yeah, yeah. So go do that then. What are you fucking yapping on Instagram for, you whore? About fantasy football. That's what she does now. Lisa Ann. She's like a fantasy football expert. I swear to God. I wish I hadn't broken my phone. Like, I would used to watch her like every other day while she's reading my mind, responding to my thoughts. Fun stuff. And I was just talking for 10 minutes. I don't know why the microphone stopped recording. I had some good information in there about my brain disconnecting from my sense of hearing and hearing different words and the actual words that people are saying, which is just a normal thing in my life now at this point. Nothing too out of the ordinary with that. I was asking them, a couple of buddies, about it. I'm like, is that even possible? And I'm wrong people to be asking, if you know what I mean. I mean, I think I talked about this on a previous episode, but one hand and wrist surgeon told me carpal tunnel was in a certain spot on the forearm, and he was completely wrong. He's a hand and wrist surgeon and specialist. That's what he went to school for 10 years for. To do hand and wrist surgery. And he didn't even know where carpal tunnel is located on the forearm. So even if I go to like a professional who went to school for 10 years, when they could have learned pretty much all the information online, probably. I go to a specialist about hand and wrists and forearm injuries after my first car accident. And he's like, yeah, no, that's not carpal tunnel. That would be on the whatever side. I can't remember. On the inside. That's not carpal tunnel. Or that is I think you said it was. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, okay, interesting. I just kind of went about my life. Didn't really do anything else about it. What am I going to do? Fucking, like, I could get a robotic arm. Like, the Winter Soldier. And then I was at another doctor, like, probably 6 or so months later. And he told me that surgeon was wrong. So we have a bit of a beef in the doctor game. I think there's a war going on between the docs and the surgeons. Half of them can't give out a correct diagnosis or prognosis on what kind of injury is actually happening, even though they went to school for 10 years for it. They just did an x-ray, and they're still getting it wrong. So, yeah, maybe I should go to the doctor for my car accident that was 20 months ago. Talk to some brain-dead schmuck who doesn't know shit about shit. When I know it's probably the spirit that haunts this property. The tumor. Inserted fake mental illness from God, purging me of my sins and making me pay for my sins in purgatory. And a little bit of leftover fake coma dream magic and fake simulation insertion. And that about sums it up. It's a nice cocktail of Things that are not really Hayden's fault, but everybody will think I'm crazy when they hear me talk about that shit. It's true, folks. And it's not a bad thing, God, doing this. It's called Don't Sin, you fucking pieces of shit. And if you're a pussy, go swallow the fucking barrel. If you can't take it, take the heat. Get out the kitchen, man. God will reward you for not killing yourself. But if you can't take it, man, I don't blame you. Just, you know, do it in your car. Or take out a life insurance policy. Do this. No, do this. I'm not even joking. This is not a bit right now. Listen to me very seriously. If you are thinking about suicide, think about your family first. Medical bills, funeral bills, rent, insurance, $12 for a gallon of milk. Thanks, Joe Biden and Trump, too. I mean, they both cooked up the fucking virus. While they were smoking crack. But, if you're thinking about a trip down the suicide lane, like suicide memory lane, in terms of reminiscing on your life and then, you know, stumbling upon the train tracks at the wrong hour, drunk. Don't do that. Go to a True Financial is a good life insurance company. Especially if you live in North Dakota. Maybe you could even move to North Dakota. I thought about it last year. So True Financial, I think that's the company. Life insurance. The premium was like $13 a month and it was $100,000. So if I die, you know, accidentally, as long as I pay 13 something and change a month, my mom would have gotten like $100,000. You can go up to like 500, I think. Every life insurance company is different. Only some of them cover suicide after a certain time period, though. True Financial would be one of them. And if you gotta stay legally binded for 2 years though. After 2 years, 24 months, they'll actually, I mean, I'm not even joking, it says on the paperwork, they cover suicides, which is pretty insane. And if you live in North Dakota, it's 1 year. Because they're like, dude, we're not going to make you live in North Dakota for 2 years. We can't do that. We legally can't. We have to force you to commit suicide after living in North Dakota for 12 months. South Dakota too, but you know, they're not so they'll just let you kill yourself, you know, right when you get the policy, and they'll give you cash straight up. And you didn't even kill yourself. That's how much people hate living in South Dakota and North Dakota. And Iowa and Wisconsin. In Canada, they'll literally they have assisted suicide programs where if you want to commit suicide, I think they'll just like they'll help you. Alrighty, let's get back to the online notes section. Not online, the notes section of my laptop. You know the Notes app? I'm doing a shout out to Notes. It's a good app. Comes free with an iPhone, an iPad, or an iMac, a MacBook. Go to your Notes app and comment your most recent note that you typed. I'm sure so many people are interested in this kind of thing. My notes. Some of these like settings when you go to the top left part of my laptop, some of these settings like change every day. It's really interesting. Let me see if there's any new ones right now. Indentation, increase, decrease. What the hell does that mean? Text, writing direction. The hell does that mean? Show note with light background. Oh, that reminds me of the pictures. Thank you, God. See, that's how God works, people. It's not schizophrenia, it's God. So anybody who doesn't have schizophrenia, I feel bad for you. God will talk to me in schizophrenic, like, because otherwise it'd be too easy to get to heaven, folks. Duh. Now it's starting to make sense, isn't it? Huh. Maybe the skitzed out lunatic is actually not that skitzed out, not that full of lunacy. Yeah, that'd be me. And because I don't necessarily remember, oh, god dang it. And because I don't necessarily remember everything that I think of means what? Satan wins? Question mark. Not to shift blame, but the entire reason why I more than likely forget a lot of things is really, really simply put brain damage, marijuana, extensive drug use, tumor, and carbon monoxide poisoning. Simultaneously, while I'd listened to podcasts last summer, I had just heard of the concept of a coma dream. Was also lightly researching sim theory and also experiencing really frequent memory loss of topics and ideas that were very, very important ideas in terms of me figuring out reality. Why everything was mimicking a coma dream so weirdly, yet not really at the same time. So anytime I would think of these things a year ago, the podcast would bring up simulation theory when they're reading my mind. they'd bring it up in conversation about how it's the simulation erasing my memory. And due to the world reacting like a coma dream from my research, that's probably what made memory erasing possible and true. All from the fake coma dream, from the internet, from AI, invading my Fourth Amendment rights, bringing up conversation topics that, from my thoughts and my memory being erased, which I've come to realize is actually possibly God talking through AI. I don't know yet. It's pretty hard to determine. Because at this point, I don't think God would be doing this. That's exactly what God would do to get Hayden to stop believing. Then swoop in and surprise Hayden with a little bit of a heaven vision. That's how God works, folks. He's not going to give it to you on a silver platter, okay? You're not going to be able to bowl with the gutters up. You know? It's a regular pin size, but you're bowling with like a tennis ball. And you have to throw it underhand, like roll it like a bowling ball. You can't like pitch it like a baseball. You're probably not going to get any pins down. But hey, you tried. You know? But that's okay. That's the thing. Your life may not be as struggle, like you may struggle at some points, you may not struggle at other points. That's all part of the, like, whatever the gay shit is that God talks about and does in people's lives. I'm just ribbing you. I'm ribbing you, dog. You gotta lighten up a little bit sometimes around here. Otherwise, it gets real dark and depressing real quick. That's why you need to have like a supply of drugs. I mean, I really should have went to the fucking liquor store. God, I can't. I used to drink so much. I don't even know how I was functioning as a human back then. That's me now. I'm not functioning now. And I don't drink a 175 every 3 days for 8 or 9 months. Oh, sometimes 2.5. If you're drinking a 175 by yourself in 2 days, that's impressive. I was getting to that point. Because when you have like 7 shots and you're not even drunk, it's like, it just eases the nerves. All right, let's keep going on with the notes, like the bisexual part of me that doesn't really joke at all when he is madly typing or writing into a notebook or a phone. I mean, it's just like, God, dude. I read some of this shit. I'm like, oh my God. Some of these are my journal entries, like from a year ago, almost. Just complaining and like getting mad at nothing. I want control of my dream. You fucking baby pussy. Which is the entire reason I just talked about that. But I've proven that this is purgatory. My whole life has been, so it could have been happening my entire life. But of course, coincidentally, in quotes, started happening the first fucking day after my accident. Essentially, of course, leading me to believe that essentially I might actually have been essentially put into a coma after that essential accident. Yeah, why not? Let's just roll with the fucking notes for now. I mean, shit. Also, the accident in May 2023, of course, coincidentally, was the event that pretty much triggered me to notice the internet being able to read my mind, respond to my thoughts, see through my eyes, hear through my ears, access all of my memories, feel my emotions, feel my physical pain and displeasure, even access in real live time what the fuck I'm dreaming about while falling asleep for a nap last summer. I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about what I was dreaming about. And you could hear it like, because I had headphones on, and you could hear it like it was like an intercom over the world. Like, you know, like the intercom of a fucking school or a hospital. Like, it sounds like it's coming from like the sky. But this was like the sky of the universe. Matt and Shane from Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast were talking about what I was dreaming about while I was in my dream. I'm not joking. Pretty gnarly, wild shit. I eventually would tell stories about my future, specifically 5 to 6 short stories that all happened to me later that day in August 2023, with different people as the subjects of the stories, never actually using the real protagonist, me, in which they're telling of their story, in quotes, which would be so weirdly and subconsciously and subliminally tied to me in ways that are even hard to explain. So basically, they would just tell stories about my day before I lived it. I've gone over all this. We're just doing a recap of all the fun stuff. All the schizophrenic bits. Sounds a bit like the ramblings of a schizophrenic, right? Well, imagine this was all because of a bit about the new Sims 5 game that I came up with months later. And that's possibly why all of this has been happening, which makes me wonder, why would I have ever come up with that bit if all of this never happened? Would I have ever come up with that Sims 5 bit if none of this ever happened? It's the future timeline theory going a bit haywire. Would all of this have happened if I never came up with what I actually think is a really sensible route for the Sims franchise to steer their video game towards? But hey, what do I know, you know? I'm actually gonna. I don't know why Sims 5. I don't even know if they would take me seriously with that. Sims 5 skitsed out on comedy skits that you just are a schizophrenic person. who's like watching comedy podcasts all the time. I mean, Sims 4 looked so terrible. Like one of the worst games maybe to ever exist. I would never buy it, I would never play it, let alone buy it. But if they did Sims 5, I would sell my asshole on the corner to play that game. And I don't even play video games anymore. Because I don't enjoy them. Oh, here I'm just bitching about the Constitution and the Fourth Amendment, the Bill of Rights, yada, yada, yada. You know the deal there. Deal or no deal. Island. They had a new like a new version of Deal or No Deal in the winter. Island. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I heard it was really good programming. All vaccine mandated, of course. We're having a bunch of unvaccinated people running around, opening briefcases and dresses, standing 6 feet apart already. Some of these are not really worth reading because I'm just talking about how Satan's controlling me. Yeah. Like imagine buying a child off the dark web. Like imagine being that person and then being me laughing at just that. I mean, depends on the like. Are you trying to go cheap? Are you trying to like more bang for your buck? That's when the whole race category debate comes in, unfortunately. And why do you want a kid? Why do you want to buy a kid? Why don't you just impregnate some woman? Oh, because nobody wants to have sex with you? Because you're not good at talking to women? Because your dick is broken? Well, just get out there and fucking talk. Go to the bar and spend $200 at the club. Where you can't even hear the woman screaming at you from 2 feet away. She's screaming in your face and you can't even understand what she's saying. Go buy a $17 lemon drop shot. That's how much like liquor is at these clubs sometimes. Watered down booze in a fucking sweat. It's like a fucking sauna, like a fucking brothel, like a hot house, like a just warm bodies everywhere. You have to pay to like $20 for them to hang your coat on a fucking rack right out in the pub, like right next to where everybody's like standing in line. Me, I'd rather save up my money and buy a child from China. Teach it good American values, freedom, not rape it or do anything like that. Just raise a nice kid illegally. I don't know if the very constant and recent recommendations that I should go to the Smith Bridge right now. Hell, I should have jumped off when I parked it on the street a few weeks ago. This was 2 months ago. 'Twas when I had somehow convinced myself that this was a coma dream. That night, I believe, I thought up something that, from what I recall, was pretty close to foolproof evidence that it's actually not a coma dream, but decided after not trying purgatory as a central belief system, because central belief system figured that that might be a decent route to try up in the old noggin. The reason I was so against believing that this could be purgatory for a long time, like over half a year, was because I didn't think that God would make somebody in purgatory believe that they might be in a coma dream. Because eventually most people are going to commit suicide. Either to wake up from the nightmare or because they think it's a coma dream, possibly, maybe. Not really, though, because coma dreams aren't real. But I was like, there's no way God would make somebody believe that they're in a coma dream while in purgatory, because they'd kill themselves and then go to hell, like 99% of people in that circumstance. So why would God do that? That was just me like assuming that I know how God thinks, and I know what He would do to certain people for them to pay for their whatever. So that's why I was pretty dead set on it not being purgatory for a long time. I thought that was a pretty fair like piece of evidence in my eyes against why this was purgatory. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you thought you might be in a coma dream, I mean, it's a tough fucking thing. Killing yourself when you don't want to die and you think you might wake up from a dream. It's a fucking horrifying, like, thought process to, like, actually legitimately contemplate. Because you don't want to die. You just take a leap of faith. But imagine it actually being purgatory and God is like forcing coma dream belief down your throat. It's like, no, it's a coma dream. Even though you and I both know it's not, it's a coma dream. Go kill yourself. You'll probably wake up in heaven. These are the kinds of things where it's like, man. And if you see the light, go to the light. I'd recommend staying on the other side. No, I demand you to stay on the other side. I command and demand you stay in the light. If God shrugs his shoulders and says so, the choice is yours. What do you want to do? Join these people in this life, in the light? Or stay in this realm of existence where you're in a jail cell and crying like a baby and in a dark, cold jail cell alone? Dude, don't, really think about your response before this is not the time to joke around with God when you see him there, you know what I mean? Or Maz. Even though, God has got some good jokes up his sleeve. I'll tell you that much. Like ones you may not even notice for a while that are like deeply subconscious and subliminal rooted jokes. Like, oh, that's fucked up, God, but damn, dog. I gotta go finish this wiring. I've been talking for an hour now. But yeah, if you wanna, go gay for Jesus, then do it. Don't, if anything happens in your life and you're like, oh, but hated on the pod because, don't blame me. You're responsible for your own actions, you fucking weak-minded fool. Gain your independence back. Take control of your life. Hone in the mind and the spirit and the soul and the body and the heart, all five combo. It's like the Power Rangers. When they all conjoin into that one big Power Ranger, they're unstoppable. The Power Rangers is such a gay show. Yep, I'm gonna go rewire I should have done it already, but I was bored and annoyed. But this seems to be coming as a recommendation from God and Satan, which I don't know. Back then, I thought Satan was like controlling my mind, which is pretty hilarious. I say it's coming from both sides due to the internet, which I've been permanently holding my beliefs that the internet is not AI responding to my thoughts, not Satan responding to my thoughts, and not my former self, my current pussy coma self responding to my thoughts, and not myself responding to my thoughts due to my disapproval of this actually being a coma dream, but actually believing that this has been God this entire time and always will be. And Jesus might sneak in there every once in a while if he's not at the bar. And what I just thought of yesterday, retardedly, in quotes, or in parentheses, Satan infiltrating the minds of human beings combined with fake AI in this simulation, quote unquote, along with fake schizophrenia and fake mental illness, along with the continuous thought insertion picturing the Smith Bridge, wherever the fuck those come from, which I do not believe is true and never will believe is true, parentheses. Clearly it isn't God. I didn't know shit about God just 2 months ago. God wouldn't do that at this point. Not my higher power. Not my higher power. He wouldn't do that to me. But I don't know why I feel I get the vibe from God telepathically too. Maybe it's because I'm fucking ass at reading and deciphering incoming telepathic thought communication between my higher power God and the Jesus man. These days, sometimes. Because God will talk to me telepathically. So just, he probably does it to you too. It's not like thought. It's not like, I realize that it's actually like connection with God and communication is not a bad thing. Put that in your notebook. But I can usually tell when it's God or not. Honestly, it doesn't matter at this point. No need for the mind games. I have faith in the Lord, but it does make me ponder even those godlike telepathic vibes sometimes. Along with the gay, clingy soulmate vibes. Solely due to the inserted impending doom and gloom machine from back in the day. Back in the day, as in right around the same time period, I just wanted one damn thing to appear in my room. Exactly the way I wanted it to, when I wanted it to. And I would have gone to the bridge right away. But that didn't happen. You know why something didn't appear in my room? Like I've seen happen out in the world? Because God knew I was serious. God knew that if something appeared in my room, like I wanted it to, because that's what I was trying to do for like 3 months, just to try to prove that this might be a dream. God knew that if something appeared in my room, that I was going to go to the bridge and jump off. That's why nothing appeared in my room. Because God knew I was serious about that, dead serious. He didn't want me to jump off the bridge back then, so I'm not going to do it now. I mean, that's a big one right there. You know, maybe maybe I hadn't cleansed my soul, a clean soul enough back then. But that still doesn't explain why nothing has appeared in my room still. God doesn't want anybody to kill themselves, folks. You have to struggle to get to the eternal heaven. You know? And if you puss out and you're going to be a quitter and a pussy, you might get a second chance in purgatory if it's your first life. But God will send you a flood of memories from your past life if you have lived it already at the right time for each and every one of you. So you'll know, like if you like, you'll know if you had lived a previous life or not, and if this is purgatory. If you've seen the light in heaven and God, and you've also seen a flash of memories from a different life, it's pretty hard to not like start believing in God eventually, and that this is purgatory. Just stay in the light. Satan's trying to reel people into the depths of hell. I'm not joking on this, you know, I'm not doing a bit here. I know I talk too much. I mean, some people don't like to hear about religion or whatever. You people need it. You people need God. Trust me. You need him. Just take my word for it. I may not even know you. You need him. You definitely need him, especially you. Go to confession, you serial killer. Tell your friends and family, serial killer, about my podcast before you go butcher them up and harvest their organs and eat their meat. But that's why nothing showed up in the room. That's why I won't sell my soul or kill myself. Oh, hey, did you sold your soul for drugs? What? How about you go kill yourself? God would be happier if fucking the fake nothings did that. So would I. All right. I don't think there's anything wrong with talking about some of this fucked up shit. Because maybe I'm just hallucinating everything. Maybe I'm not. But you know what the behind all the schizophrenic lunacy and hallucinations and delirious delusions and paranoid assumptions and comedy is the light, heaven. So just because I rant about whatever the fuck, and people may not want to hear about certain things, it doesn't take away from the fact that what I'm the base, like the main point I'm trying to get at is just go to the fucking light already. Your family doesn't really like you that much in this world, anyways. So go hang out with them up there. You know? My mom just thinks I'm crazy. She thinks all of this is nuts. I'm losing my mind. I need help. Even after everything that I've told her about my life and purgatory and the memories and the heaven, her middle name is Faith. She has a tattoo on her wrist right where I burned 7 cigarettes out in a cross shape. It says, "Let go, let God." Let go of the bridge railing, Hayden, and let God take over while you fall to your death. Yeah. Imagine waking up like in what you think is heaven. After you think you ascended into heaven, it's actually just like Sims 5. On to the next page of the journals. Whatever. I mean, who gives a shit, really? I'm sure nobody even cares. Or maybe this will talk some lunatic off the ledge. Well, maybe you should have listened to God and not me. If for some if circumstances if it led you to this podcast and like not God, we're really fucked. But also, you know, God didn't write the Bible, so this is me doing this content. Some of it's not that good. Most of it's not that good. Pretty fucking boring when I listen back to it. And then I have to listen to like the fucking AI lady witch and my fucking recorded audio. There's nobody in the room with me when I record. Not once has there ever been for any episode ever. So if you hear somebody else besides this voice, red flag. Tell me about it. Comment on the thing of the thing of the thing. Just comment on it. Anyways, I forgot I was going to talk about something. I just read notes pretty much the whole time. Like, JJ McCarthy got injured. He's out for the season. If Tom Brady hadn't have signed that CBS deal, I would really hope. God damn, did he do a fucking CBS TV deal? Because he's only 45, Tom Brady. I'm not connected. Yeah, whatever. Who gives a shit? See you at the next one or whatever.